Jake Harrison stood on the control deck of the Earth ship Liberty. He looked out the big window at space, dark space filled with tiny white stars. But today, something else was out there. Something that made his heart beat fast. Alien ships. Hundreds. Of them. The alien ships were huge, much bigger than any Earth ship. They looked like they were made of glass and metal that shined purple and blue. The ships moved in perfect lines across the black sky. They looked beautiful and scary at the same time. Jake touched the radio button on his chair. "Admiral Rodriguez, are you seeing this?" The voice that came back sounded calm but worried. "I see them, Jake. We all see them." Lisa Rodriguez was the top boss of all Earth ships. Her ship was called the Defiant. It was the biggest Earth ship they had. But even the Defiant looked like a tiny toy next to the alien ships. On another Earth ship called the Freedom, Captain Ryan Foster was looking at the same scary sight. He stood next to Amy Carter, who worked the ship's weapons. Amy had short red hair and green eyes that were very wide right now. "Captain," Amy said in a quiet voice, "I count over 300 alien ships. Our computers say their weapons are way better than ours." Ryan nodded. He had been a ship captain for 10 years. He had seen many fights in space, but nothing like this. The alien ships were so advanced that Earth's best weapons would probably not even scratch them. Then something happened that made everyone stop and listen. A voice came through all the radios at once. It was not a human voice. It sounded like metal scraping against stone, but the words were in English. "People of Earth," the voice said, "I am Overlord Vexthar of the Great Zephyrian Empire. We speak for the Galactic Council. We have been watching your little planet for a long time." On every Earth ship, people stopped what they were doing. They listened to the alien voice. Jake felt his hands get sweaty. Lisa Rodriguez sat up straight, in her captain's chair. Ryan Foster and Amy Carter looked at each other with worried faces. "Your kind amuses us," the alien voice continued. "You are like small children who found some toys and think they are grown up. You fly around in these simple ships and think you understand space. It is very funny to watch." The voice had a mean laugh in it, like someone making fun of a kid who fell down. On the research ship Discovery, Dr. Ellen Brooks was writing down everything the aliens said. Ellen studied aliens for her job, even though Earth had never met any real aliens before today. She had always wondered what they would be like. Now she was finding out. "We have shown your planet to many other races in our empire," Vexthar said. "They all agree that humans are the most entertaining species we have found. You fight each other over such silly things. You build cities that fall down. You make rules and then break them the next day. Very amusing." Jake felt his face getting hot. The alien was not just threatening Earth. He was making fun of all humans, treating them like they were stupid animals in a zoo. "The Galactic Council has made a decision about your planet," the alien voice went on. "Earth will become a nature park. You humans can keep living there, but we will be in charge. You can keep doing your silly human things, but under our rules. Think of it like a zoo, but you get to stay in your natural habitat." The alien laughed. Again. It was not a nice laugh. "We know what you are thinking," Vexthar said. "You want to fight us. This is also very amusing. Your weapons are like sticks and stones compared to ours. Your ships are like paper boats in a storm. You cannot win. You cannot even make us notice you are fighting." Jake looked around his control deck. His crew was listening to every word. Their faces showed anger, fear, and worry. These were good people, smart people, people who had worked hard to build Earth's spaceships and explore the stars. And this alien was calling them entertaining pets. "But do not worry," the alien voice continued. "We will take good care of you. We will make sure you have enough food and water. We will let you keep your cute little governments and armies. You can even keep fighting your small wars if you want. It will be fun to watch." The alien's voice was getting more and more mean, like he really enjoyed hurting people's feelings. Some of our younger species wanted to just destroy your planet, Vexithar said. But the wise leaders of the council said no. You are too funny to destroy. It would be like breaking a toy that makes you laugh. That was when something strange happened. Jake. Harrison started to smile. Then the smile became a little laugh. Not a scared laugh or a crazy laugh. A real laugh. Like someone had just told him a really good joke. Amy Carter heard Jake laughing through the radio. She looked at Ryan Foster with confused eyes. Then she started to smile too. And then she started to laugh. The laughing spread from ship to ship. Lisa Rodriguez heard her crew starting to giggle. On the Discovery, Dr. Ellen Brooks was trying not to laugh while she wrote notes, but she could not help it. Soon, every Earth ship was filled with the sound of humans laughing. The alien voice stopped talking. For a moment, space was quiet, except for the sound of hundreds of humans laughing together. Then Vexthar spoke again. His voice sounded confused and angry. "Why are you making those sounds?" he asked. "Are you broken? Is this some kind of fear response?" Jake wiped tears from his eyes. He was still laughing. "Oh, man," he said to his crew. "Did you guys hear that? This alien thinks we're going to be his pets. He thinks Earth is going to be his personal zoo." "That's pretty funny," Amy Carter said, between giggles. "I mean, has he seen how humans act when someone tries to tell us what to do?" Lisa Rodriguez was trying to stop laughing long enough to think. As the Admiral, she needed to make smart decisions. But the alien speech was so ridiculous that she could not help but see the funny side. "Attention all ships," she said into her radio. "I know this seems like a scary situation, but I think we just learned something very important about our new alien friends." She paused and smiled. They have no idea who they're dealing with. Dr. Ellen Brooks was writing as fast as she could. She was making notes about everything the aliens said and did, and what she was learning made her very excited. These aliens were very smart and had great technology, but they had one big problem. They did not understand humans at all, and that might be exactly what Earth needed to survive. The USS Dakota entered orbit around Xerion Prime like a conquering hero. The single human destroyer had defeated an entire alien armada in less than 4 hours. What remained of the Krellian fleet was fleeing toward the edge of the solar system, their ships damaged and their pride broken. Captain Jake Harrison stood on his bridge and watched the planet below. 30,000 human colonists were safe. The mining colony that had been cut off for 6 months was free again, but Harrison knew this victory meant much more than saving one world. "Captain," Lieutenant Amy Clark reported from her station, "all enemy vessels have cleared the system. Long-range sensors show them jumping to hyperspace as fast as their engines allow." "Good. Any distress signals from the colony?" "No, sir. Administrator Bell reports all civilians are safe and accounted for. They are requesting permission to come to the surface and celebrate." Harrison smiled. "Permission granted. Paul, how are our systems?" Chief Engineer Paul Davis checked his displays. "All experimental systems performed perfectly, Captain. The modular design worked exactly as planned. Energy conversion efficiency was 97%. We could fight another battle right now, if needed." "I hope that will not be necessary," Dr. Helen Ross said from her science station. "But, Captain, the implications of this battle are enormous. We have proven that human technology can defeat any known alien military force." Lieutenant, Commander Steve Adams nodded. "The tactical data from this engagement will revolutionize space warfare. 5 coordinated modules fighting as one unit, energy absorption and conversion systems, precision targeting computers that can lock onto dozens of targets simultaneously. No alien species has anything like this." Harrison pressed the communication button for ship-wide announcement. "All hands, this is the captain. Today we have achieved something remarkable. We have shown the galaxy that humanity will not be pushed around anymore. Every crew member on this ship should be proud of what we accomplished today." He paused and looked around his bridge. "But our work is not finished. This victory will send shockwaves throughout known space. Every alien empire, every hostile species, every enemy of humanity will hear about what happened here. Some will fear us, others will respect us. A few will want to destroy us before we become too powerful. The captain's words were broadcast not just to his crew, but to Earth Command. Admiral Susan Kane received the battle report in her office on Luna Station. She read the tactical summary 3 times before she believed it. One human destroyer had defeated over 200 alien warships. "Get me President Carter immediately," she told her aide, "and contact the shipyards. I want 50 Dakota-class vessels under construction within 6 months." On Earth, President William Carter addressed the United Earth Assembly in emergency session. Representatives from every human colony, every space station, every outpost gathered to hear news that would change everything. "Ladies and gentlemen," Carter began, 12 hours ago, the USS Dakota engaged a Krellian armada of over 200 ships. The battle lasted 4 hours. The result was complete victory for human forces. 0 casualties on our side. The alien fleet was destroyed or driven from the system. The assembly hall erupted in cheers and applause. For the first time in decades, humanity had won a decisive military victory against an alien empire. This success proves that human ingenuity and determination can overcome any threat, Carter continued. We are no longer the galaxy's victims. We are no longer forced to hide behind defensive systems and hope for mercy. Today, humanity becomes a major power in galactic affairs. News of the battle spread throughout human space within hours. On Mars, colonists celebrated in the streets. On the mining stations of the asteroid belt, workers cheered the defeat of their oppressors. On distant frontier worlds, settlers looked up at the stars with new hope. But the news traveled beyond human territory. On the home world of the Hegemony Council, alien leaders gathered in emergency session to discuss the implications of humanity's new military capability. One ship destroyed an entire Krellian armada, Council Leader Vexthai said with concern. How is this possible? Our intelligence reports said humans were technologically inferior. Our intelligence was wrong, Military Commander Zor Keth replied. These humans have developed weapons and tactics we have never encountered. They fight. Unlike any species we know, should we attack them before they become too powerful? No. If one human ship can defeat 200 Krellian vessels, imagine what 50 such ships could do to our fleet. We must seek peace with humanity. Similar conversations took place on a dozen alien worlds. The Zephyrian Empire immediately offered trade agreements with Earth. The Void Lords, who had never spoken to humans before, sent diplomatic envoys. Even the mysterious architects of the Outer Rim requested meetings with human representatives. On Xerion Prime, the colonists emerged from their underground shelters to see the Dakota orbiting peacefully above. Administrator Ryan Bell stood with Mining Supervisor Kate Johnson and Security Chief Frank Collins as transport shuttles began landing. "I still cannot believe it," Kate said quietly. "One ship saved us all." "Not just one ship," Bell corrected. "One crew, 140. Humans who refused to abandon their people." "What happens now?" Frank asked. "Now everything changes," Bell replied. "Humanity is no longer afraid. We are no longer weak. The galaxy will have to deal with us as equals." Captain Harrison received a personal message from Admiral Kane. "Captain, your actions today have altered the balance of power in the galaxy. Earth Command is promoting you to Commodore and giving you command of the new Dakota Squadron. 50 ships built to your specifications. Your mission will be to patrol human space and protect our colonies from any threats." Harrison looked at his crew with pride. These people had made history. They had shown the galaxy what humans could accomplish when they worked together, sir, Amy Clark said with excitement in her voice. "We are receiving communication requests from all over known space. The Hegemony wants to discuss peace treaties. The Zephyrians are offering technology exchanges. Even the Void Lords want to meet with us." "Good," Harrison replied. "Schedule the meetings," but make sure they understand the new rules. Humanity is no longer asking for protection. We are no longer begging for mercy. We are offering partnership between equals. Dr. Ross checked her instruments one more time. Captain, I am detecting massive changes in galactic communication traffic. Every species is talking about what happened here. The Battle of Xerion Prime will be remembered for centuries. Then let us make sure it is remembered correctly, Harrison said. Let them remember that humans protect their own. Let them remember that we never give up. Let them remember that when humanity is threatened, we fight back with everything we have. The USS Dakota completed its orbit of Xerion Prime and set course for Earth. Behind them, 30,000 grateful colonists began rebuilding their world. Ahead of them, a galaxy that would never again underestimate the power of human determination. The age of human victory had begun. The Krellian fleet was falling apart. Admiral Zeftok tried to maintain order, but panic spread faster than his commands. Ship after ship requested permission to withdraw. Captains who had conquered star systems now feared 5 small human vessels. Admiral, Captain Mortek called over the communication system. My crew is asking questions I cannot answer. How do we fight an enemy that turns our own weapons against us? How do we destroy ships that split apart and move like living things? We follow orders, Zeftok replied, but his voice lacked conviction. We are the Krellian Empire. We have never been defeated. Sir, Captain Lixara interrupted. Permission to withdraw my fighter squadrons. My pilots refuse to launch against the human ships. Denied. All ships will advance and engage the enemy. But even as he gave the order, Admiral Zeftok knew his fleet was breaking. Fear had replaced discipline. Doubt had replaced confidence. The mighty Krellian armada was becoming a mob of frightened ships. The 5 Dakota modules moved through space like predators that had found their prey. Captain Harrison coordinated the attack from Echo Module while his other commanders prepared for the main assault. All modules report ready, Lieutenant Commander Adams announced from Alpha Module. Enemy main fleet is approximately 800,000 kilometers ahead. Copy that, Steve. Paul, how are our power levels? Chief Engineer Davis responded from Beta Module. Fusion cores running at optimal efficiency. Energy conversion systems are performing beyond expectations. We can maintain full combat operations for 6 hours. Amy, weapons status? Lieutenant Clark checked her systems from Charlie Module. All weapon arrays fully charged. Kinetic projectile. Systems loaded. Electromagnetic pulse generators ready. Targeting computers have acquired over 100 enemy vessels, Dr. Ross reported from Delta Module. Defensive screens are operating perfectly. Jamming systems are disrupting enemy communications. Their fleet coordination is breaking down. Harrison smiled. Everything was working exactly as Earth's scientists had planned. 3 years of research and development had created something the galaxy had never seen. Human ingenuity, combined with human determination, had produced weapons that could change the balance of power forever. All modules, begin final approach. Engage at will when we reach optimal range. The Dakota modules accelerated toward the main Krellian fleet. They moved in perfect formation, each ship supporting the others. Alpha Module led the attack. Beta Module provided electronic warfare support. Charlie Module prepared heavy weapons. Delta Module maintained defensive screens. Echo Module commanded the overall battle. On the Krellian flagship, Admiral Zeftok watched his sensors with growing dread. The 5 human ships were approaching at high speed. His own fleet was spreading out, some ships trying to flee, others preparing to fight, most simply waiting in confusion. Sir, his tactical officer reported, 63 ships have broken formation and are retreating from the system. Cowards, the admiral growled. Signal the remaining ships. All vessels will focus fire on the human ships. Concentrated firepower will overwhelm their defenses. Yes, sir. Broadcasting attack coordinates now. But the response was slow and confused. Captains asked for clarification. Ships moved in different directions. The disciplined Krellian fleet that had conquered 17 systems was gone, replaced by a collection of frightened vessels. On Zerion Prime, the colonists watched the battle through their emergency sensors. What they saw amazed them. 5 human ships were attacking a fleet of over 100 alien vessels, and the aliens were the ones running away. "This is impossible," Security Chief Frank Collins whispered. "How are 5 ships defeating an entire armada?" Administrator Ryan Bell shook, his head in wonder. "I think we are seeing the future of human military technology. Our people have learned from every defeat. Every loss has made us stronger." Mining Supervisor Kate Johnson pointed at the tactical display. "Look at how they move. The 5 ships work together like they share the same brain. No alien fleet has ever fought like that?" "Because no alien species thinks like humans," Bell replied. "We adapt, we learn, we overcome." The Dakota modules reached weapons range and the real battle began. The remaining Krellian ships opened fire with everything they had. Energy beams, plasma cannons, antimatter torpedoes, and particle weapons filled space with deadly light. Enough. Firepower to destroy a planet streaked toward the 5 human vessels, but the Dakota modules were ready. They moved through the enemy fire like dancers avoiding raindrops. Alpha module rolled left and fired precision beams that took out 3 Krellian cruisers. Beta module released electromagnetic pulses that disabled entire squadrons. Charlie module launched kinetic projectiles that punched through enemy shields and hulls. Delta module created a moving shield that protected all 5 ships from return fire. Echo module coordinated the attack with computer precision, directing each ship to its optimal target. The Krellian fleet fired back desperately, but their weapons could not lock onto the moving human ships. The Dakota modules moved too fast, turned too quickly, and struck too precisely. Every human shot hit its target. Every alien shot missed. Admiral Zeftok watched his fleet die around him. Ship after ship exploded or went dark. His communications, channels filled with distress calls and surrender requests. The most feared fleet in the galaxy was being destroyed by 5 small human vessels. "Admiral," his weapons officer called out, "main batteries are ready to fire. Target the lead human. Ship, full power." The flagship's massive energy cannons fired at Alpha Module. The blast was powerful enough to vaporize a moon, but Alpha Module simply moved aside and the energy beam passed harmlessly through empty space. Alpha Module fired back. A single precision beam struck the flagship's main engines. The massive ship shuddered and lost power to its propulsion systems. "Engines offline," the engineering officer reported. "We are dead in space." Beta Module hit the flagship with an electromagnetic pulse that knocked out half the ship's systems. Charlie Module prepared to finish the job with kinetic projectiles. "Wait," Admiral Zeftok called out desperately. "I surrender! The fleet surrenders!" The Dakota modules stopped their attack. The 5 ships took up defensive positions around the disabled flagship while Captain Harrison opened a communication channel. "Admiral Zeftok, you will order all remaining ships to withdraw from this system immediately. Any vessel that does not comply will be destroyed." "I understand," the Admiral replied quietly. "All ships, this is Admiral Zeftok. Withdraw from the system. Do not engage the human vessels. Repeat, do not engage." The surviving Krellian ships began to flee. Some were too damaged to move quickly. Others ran at full speed toward the edge of the system. Within 1 hour, the space around Zerion Prime was clear of enemy vessels. The 5 Dakota modules came together and reassembled into a single ship. The transformation was smooth and perfect, like it had been designed by masters of engineering. "Captain," Harrison opened a channel to the colony below. "Zerion Prime, this is Captain Harrison of the USS Dakota. The threat has been eliminated. You are safe." On the planet's surface, 30,000 human colonists cheered. The 12 Krellian ships moved through space like predators hunting prey. Captain Valmore commanded the lead vessel from his bridge. He had destroyed human ships before. 3 times in the past year, he had blown Earth vessels into space dust. This would be no different. Target acquired, his weapons officer reported. Single human destroyer, bearing directly toward us. No escort ships detected. Valmore laughed. 1 ship. The humans must be desperate. Or insane. Orders, Captain. Close to optimal firing range. I want to savor this. Let the human ship see death coming. Behind Valmore, his crew prepared for what they thought would be an easy kill. The Krellian. Heavy cruisers carried plasma cannons that could melt through asteroid fields. Their shields could stop attacks from entire planetary defense systems. 12 ships like these had once destroyed a whole fleet of enemy vessels in under 10 minutes. On the Dakota, Captain Harrison watched the enemy ships approach. The Krellian formation was perfect. Textbook military tactics. Each ship supported the others. No gaps in their defense. No weak points to exploit. Enemy ships closing to weapons range in 12 minutes, Lieutenant Commander Adams reported. They are maintaining standard attack formation. Standard is good, Harrison said. Standard means predictable. He turned to his chief engineer. Paul, how are our special systems? Chief Engineer Davis smiled. Fusion core is running hot but stable. The new energy conversion system is ready. Modular separation protocols are loaded and waiting. Amy, weapon status? Lieutenant Clark checked her displays. All weapon systems are green, Captain. The new targeting computers are showing lock solutions on all 12 enemy ships. All 12? Adams asked. Simultaneously? That is what the computer says. I have never seen anything like it. Dr. Ross looked up from her science station. Captain, I am reading massive energy signatures from the enemy ships. They are charging their main weapons. Expected, Harrison said. They want to end this quickly. They think we are just another weak human ship. On Zerion Prime, the human colonists huddled in underground shelters. Administrator Ryan Bell watched the tactical display that showed the space battle about to begin. 1 small dot representing. The Dakota moved toward 12 larger dots representing death. Sir, Mining Supervisor Kate Johnson said quietly. Should we try to contact the Dakota? Warn them about the enemy numbers? Bell shook his head. They know, Kate. They know exactly what they are flying into. Security Chief Frank Collins checked his sidearm for the 100th time. 1 ship against 12. Against 200. What are they thinking? They are thinking about us, Bell replied. About 30,000 people who need help. Above them, the battle was about to begin. Captain Valmore watched his target grow larger on the main screen. The human ship looked ordinary, small, fragile. Nothing special about its design. Nothing that suggested it could fight 12 heavy cruisers and survive. Captain, his sensor officer called out. I am reading unusual energy patterns from the human vessel. What kind of patterns? Unknown, sir. The readings do not match anything in our database. Valmore waved a dismissive hand. Humans always try new tricks before they die. It means nothing. Prepare to fire. Yes, sir. All ships report ready. Fire when we reach optimal range. The Dakota continued its steady approach. No evasive maneuvers. No apparent fear. Captain Harrison sat calmly in his command chair while his crew worked at their stations. Captain, Amy Clark said, enemy ships are locking weapons on us. Multiple targeting beams detected. Let them lock on. Paul, initialize the shield matrix. Aye, sir. Shield matrix coming online. The lights on the bridge dimmed slightly as massive amounts of power flowed to the Dakota's experimental defense systems. Dr. Ross watched her instruments with fascination. Energy levels are increasing exponentially, she reported. The conversion matrices are responding perfectly. Sir, Adams said, the enemy is opening fire. Space lit up with deadly energy. 12 Krellian ships fired their main weapons at the same moment. Plasma bolts and antimatter torpedoes streaked through the vacuum toward the Dakota. enough firepower to destroy a small city headed directly at the human destroyer. The weapons hit the Dakota's shields and something impossible happened. Instead of exploding, instead of dying, the human ship absorbed every bit of energy. The plasma bolts disappeared into the shield matrix. The antimatter torpedoes vanished like they had never existed. On the Krellian flagship, Captain Valmore stared at his tactical display. What happened? Where are the explosions? Sir, our weapon struck the target. Direct hits confirmed, but the human ship is still there, still intact. That is impossible. Scan for debris. No debris, Captain. No damage detected. The human ship appears to be undamaged. Valmore felt something he had not experienced in many years. Confusion. Fear. How is that possible? His answer came in the form of a single energy pulse from the Dakota. The human destroyer fired once. The energy beam split into 12 separate streams, each one aimed at a different Krellian ship. Each beam found its target with perfect accuracy. The first cruiser exploded in a ball of fire. The second lost all power and went dark. The third simply vanished as its hull was torn apart at the molecular level. Within 30 seconds, all 12 ships were destroyed or disabled. Captain Valmore had just enough time to send a warning signal before his own ship exploded around him. On the Krellian flagship, Admiral Zeftok watched his tactical display with growing horror. 12 red dots representing his intercept squadron blinked out of existence. Gone. All of them. Destroyed by a single human ship in less than 1 minute. Sensor error, he said quietly. There must be a sensor error. No error, Admiral, his tactical officer replied with a shaking voice. Intercept Squadron 7 has been destroyed. All ships lost. By one human destroyer? Yes, sir. The bridge fell silent. 200 Krellian officers stared at displays that showed something impossible. Something that violated everything they knew about human military capability. Sir, the communications officer said, the human ship is sending another message. Admiral. Zeftok nodded slowly. The main screen activated. Captain Harrison appeared again. His expression was calm, professional, like he had just completed a routine training exercise instead of destroying 12 warships. Admiral Zeftok, Harrison said, you now have 28 minutes to withdraw from this system. Any ship that remains will be destroyed. This is your final warning. The transmission ended. Zeftok stared at the blank screen while his mind tried to process what had happened. One human ship had just eliminated 12 of his best vessels. How was that possible? What kind of weapons did they carry? What kind of shields could absorb that much firepower and convert it into energy? Admiral, his tactical officer said quietly. Orders, sir? Zeftok looked around his bridge. He saw fear in the eyes of his crew. Warriors who had conquered star systems were afraid of a single enemy ship, and maybe they were right to be afraid. Signal the fleet, he said slowly. All ships to attack formation. We end this now. But even as he gave the order, Admiral Zeftok wondered if he was making a terrible mistake. The stars around Zerion Prime looked peaceful, but looks could lie. 215 Krellian warships floated in the dark space around the mining planet. Each ship was bigger than a city block. Each one carried enough weapons to destroy a moon. Together, they made the most feared fleet in the galaxy. Fleet Admiral Zeftok stood on the bridge of his flagship. The alien commander was 8 feet tall with gray skin and 4 arms. His red eyes watched the planet below through the main screen. 30,000 humans lived down there. They had been cut off from Earth for 6 months. No help was coming. No help could come. The Krellian fleet was too strong. Status report, Zeftok said in his deep voice. All ships in position, Admiral, his tactical officer replied. The humans have stopped trying to send messages. Their defense grid is offline. They know they cannot fight us. Zeftok smiled, showing sharp teeth. The Krellians had conquered 17 star systems in the past year. Each victory made them stronger. Each defeat of their enemies made other species fear them more. The humans were next on the list. After Zerion Prime fell, the Krellian fleet would move toward Earth itself. "Sir," the communications officer called out, "we are getting a signal." "From the planet?" "No, sir. From deep space. Long-range sensors. Show a single ship approaching our position." Zeftok turned to look at his sensor officer. "What kind of ship?" "Human design, Admiral. Small destroyer class. It appears to be alone." The bridge fell silent. Then several officers began to laugh. One ship? A single human destroyer against their entire armada? It was like a mouse challenging a pride of lions. "Are they surrendering?" Zeftok asked. "No, sir. They are on a direct course for our fleet. Speed is increasing." Zeftok felt amused. "Put them on screen when they get closer. I want to see the face of whoever is foolish enough to attack us." 3 billion miles away, the USS Dakota cut through space at high speed. Captain Jake Harrison sat in his command chair, watching the tactical display. The Krellian fleet looked like a cloud of red dots on his screen. So many ships, so many weapons, pointed at the human colony below. "Captain," Lieutenant Amy Clark said from her weapons station, "long-range sensors confirm 215 enemy vessels. Their combined firepower is approximately 4,000 times greater than ours." "Thank you, Lieutenant. Any word?" "From the colony? Last transmission was 8 hours ago, sir. Administrator Ryan Bell confirmed that 30,000 civilians are in the underground shelters. They have food and water for 2 weeks. Captain Harrison nodded. 2 weeks. That was how long those people could hide. After that, the Krellians would dig them out, or worse. "Chief Davis," Harrison called to his chief engineer, "how are our new systems?" Chief Engineer Paul Davis looked up from his console. "Fusion drive is running at 108% of normal. The new shield array is fully charged. All weapon systems are green across the board." "Science report, Dr. Ross." Dr. Helen Ross checked her instruments. "All experimental. Systems are functioning within expected parameters, Captain. The modular separation system is ready for deployment. Energy conversion matrices are stable." Harrison looked around his bridge. 40 people worked at their stations. Good people, brave people. They all knew what they were flying into. They all knew the odds. But they were still here, still doing their jobs, still ready to fight. "Sir," Lieutenant Commander Steve Adams said from the tactical station, "the enemy fleet is beginning to move. 12 ships are breaking off from the main group. They appear to be moving to intercept us." "Only 12?" Amy Clark asked. "Against their entire fleet?" "They think we are not worth their full attention," Adams replied. "Intelligence reports say Krellian tactics focus on overwhelming force. They probably see us as a minor annoyance." Harrison smiled. "Let them think that. How long until we reach weapons range?" 47 minutes at current speed, sir." The captain pressed a button on his chair. His voice went out to every part of the ship. "All hands, this is the captain. In less than 1 hour, we will engage the enemy. Our mission is simple. Rescue the colonists on Zerion Prime. The odds are not in our favor, but the odds have never stopped humans before." He paused, thinking about what to say next. "The Krellians think they know everything about human ships. They think they know how we fight. They think they know what we can do. They are wrong. We carry 3 years of research and development in our hull. We carry the hopes of 30,000 people below. We carry the honor of Earth itself." Harrison took a breath. "The enemy expects us to run. They expect us to surrender. They expect us to fail. Let us show them what humans really do when our people are in danger. All stations prepare for combat." Throughout the ship, crew members checked their equipment one last time. In engineering, Paul Davis watched the fusion reactor that powered their experimental systems. In the weapons bay, Amy Clark ran diagnostics on cannons that no alien had ever seen before. In the medical bay, Dr. Ross prepared for casualties that might never come. On the Krellian flagship, Admiral Zeftok watched the human ship approach. It was small. It was alone. It was either very brave or very stupid. "Admiral," his communications officer said, "the human ship is sending a message. Put it through." The main screen flickered. A human face appeared. Male, middle-aged, with calm blue eyes and brown hair. He wore the blue uniform of Earth's military. "I am Captain Jake Harrison of the USS Dakota. You have 30,000 human. Civilians under siege. You will withdraw from this system immediately." The Krellian bridge erupted in laughter. Several officers made sounds that might have been amusement in their language. Zeftok stepped forward. "I am Fleet Admiral Zeftok of the Krellian Empire. You command one small ship. I command over 200. Surrender now, and your death will be quick." Harrison's expression did not change. "Negative, Admiral. We are here for our people. You can leave now, or you can try to stop us. Your choice." The human captain ended the transmission. Zeftok stared at the blank screen for a moment. Then he turned to his tactical officer. "Signal the intercept squadron. Destroy that ship. Make it painful." "Yes, sir." As the Krellian ships moved into attack position, Harrison looked at his crew one more time. They were ready. The ship was ready. Everything humanity had learned about war, about technology, about survival, was built into the Dakota. "All hands," he said quietly. "Here we go." Admiral Zeftok gave his orders, but the Krellian fleet did not respond like it should have. Ships moved slowly into attack formation. Some captains asked for confirmation of orders. Others requested permission to withdraw. The destruction of 12 ships in 30 seconds had shaken the entire armada. Captain Mortek of the battleship Void Hammer spoke on the command frequency. "Admiral, request clarification? Are we certain about the capabilities of this human vessel?" "You saw what happened to Squadron 7, Zeftok replied. "One ship destroyed 12 of ours, but we have 200 ships remaining. Numbers will win." Captain Lixara of the carrier Dark Star joined the conversation. "Sir, my pilots are asking questions. They want to know how human shields absorbed our best weapons. They want to know how one ship fired 12 different beams at the same time." "I do not have answers," the Admiral admitted. "But I have orders. We destroy the human ship. We take the colony. We show the galaxy that the Krellian Empire cannot be defeated by one vessel." But his words sounded hollow even to himself. On the Dakota, Captain Harrison watched the enemy fleet's slow response. The alien ships were moving, but without their usual coordination. Fear was spreading through their ranks like a virus. "Sir," Lieutenant Commander Adams reported, "enemy fleet is attempting to form attack formation, but they are having difficulties. Several ships are requesting permission to withdraw." "They are scared," Lieutenant Clark observed. "They do not understand what happened to their friends." "Good," Harrison said. "Fear makes enemies make mistakes. Dr. Ross, prepare for Phase 2. Dr. Helen Ross checked her science console. "Modular separation system is ready, Captain. All 5 sections report green status. Independent power systems are online." "Chief Davis, can we maintain power to all modules during separation?" Paul Davis nodded. "The new fusion core design allows for distributed power distribution. Each module will have full capability when separated." Harrison pressed the ship-wide communication button. "All hands, prepare for modular separation. This is not a drill. Section leaders report when ready." Throughout the Dakota, crew members strapped themselves into their stations. The ship had been designed as 5 separate vessels that could join together or fight independently. Each section had its own bridge, its own weapons, its own life support. It was a design concept that no other species had ever attempted. "Alpha section ready," Adams reported from the tactical module. "Beta section ready," Davis called from the engineering module. "Charlie section ready," came the voice from the weapons. "Module, Delta section ready," reported the defense module commander. "Echo section ready," announced the command module leader. Harrison took a deep breath. Execute separation. The Dakota began to come apart. What had looked like one ship suddenly became 5 independent vessels. Each module was sleek and deadly. Each one carried enough firepower to challenge a Krellian cruiser. Together, they formed a fighting formation that moved with perfect coordination. On the Krellian flagship, sensor officer after sensor officer checked their equipment. The readings had to be wrong. Ships did not split apart like that. Single vessels did not become 5 vessels while traveling at high speed. "Admiral," the chief sensor operator said with a trembling voice, "confirmed. The human vessel has separated into 5 distinct ships. Each one shows full power signatures. Each one is armed." Admiral Zeftok felt his confidence cracking. "How is that possible?" "Unknown, sir. Our databases show no record of such technology." The 5 Dakota modules spread out into attack formation. They moved like a pack of hunting animals. Alpha module took point position. Beta and Charlie modules flanked left and right. Delta module provided rear support. Echo module commanded from the center. "All modules report ready for combat," Adams announced from Alpha module. Harrison, now commanding. Echo module, open communications to the entire Krellian fleet. "Admiral Zeftok, you now have 15 minutes to begin withdrawal. Any ship that fires on us will be destroyed." The Admiral looked around his bridge. His officers waited for orders. His fleet waited for commands. But what commands could he give? "How do you fight an enemy that absorbs your weapons and splits into multiple ships?" "Sir," his tactical officer said quietly, "some of our captains are requesting permission to retreat." "Denied. We are the Krellian Empire. We do not retreat from humans." But even as he said the words, Zeftok knew that something had changed. The humans were not the same species his forces had fought before. These were not the desperate defenders who barely survived alien attacks. This was something new, something dangerous. On Zerion Prime, Administrator Ryan Bell watched the impossible battle unfold on his screens. One human ship had become 5. 5 ships that moved together like they shared the same mind. "Sir," Kate Johnson whispered, "how are they doing this?" "I do not know," Bell replied, "but I am beginning to think we might actually be rescued." Security Chief Frank Collins pointed at the tactical display. "Look at the alien fleet. They are not advancing anymore. They are just sitting there." "They are afraid," Bell said with wonder. "The most feared fleet in the galaxy is afraid of 5 human ships." The Dakota modules continued their approach. Captain Harrison coordinated the attack from Echo module while the other sections prepared their weapons. Each module carried different types of armament. Alpha had precision beam weapons. Beta carried electromagnetic pulse systems. Charlie mounted kinetic projectile launchers. Delta provided defensive screens and jamming equipment. Echo controlled the overall battle coordination. "Enemy fleet is starting to move," Adams reported from Alpha. "Looks like about 50 ships are advancing to intercept us." "Let them come," Harrison replied. "All modules, prepare to engage. Show them what human engineering can accomplish." The advancing Krellian ships opened fire first. Plasma bolts and energy beams filled space between the two forces. The alien captains hoped that concentrated firepower would overwhelm whatever tricks the humans were using, but the Dakota modules did not try to absorb this attack. Instead, they moved. 5 ships dancing through space with impossible grace. They dodged between energy beams. They slipped around plasma bolts. They moved like they could predict where every shot would go before it was fired. Alpha module fired first. A precise energy beam struck the lead Krellian ship directly in its power core. The alien vessel exploded instantly. Beta module released an electromagnetic pulse that disabled 6 ships at once. Their lights went out. Their engines stopped. They drifted helplessly in space. Charlie module launched kinetic projectiles that punched through Krellian shields like they were made of paper. 3 more ships died in explosions of metal and fire. Delta Module created a defensive screen that protected all 5 human ships from return fire. Echo Module coordinated the entire attack with computer precision. In less than 2 minutes, 30 Krellian ships were destroyed or disabled. The remaining 20 turned and fled back to the main fleet. Admiral Zeftok watched his attack force run away. His most experienced captains, his best ships, running from 5 small human vessels. "Sir," his communications officer said quietly, "we are receiving surrender requests from 47 ships in our fleet." The admiral closed his eyes. The battle was already lost, and it had barely begun.